Uh, this class is called Stepping Out of Victimhood in These Days and Times. Um, and so we're going to work on victim issues today. And, you know, it's the fear, a lot of it is about the fear that bad things will happen to me, that the worst will happen. And people having that haunting feeling that something's going to show up. And right now in America, of course, you know, we just have that feeling that, or at least it feels like it's all around us. Like, you know, we have so much evidence that the worst things are going to happen. And I was just talking to a man the other day about it. I was buying some dirt at his store. And, you know, he says, well, we're just going to have this big, you know, race war soon. And I go, I don't really see that. I mean, I see that we're having, you know, problems, but the actuality is that we're really raising in vibration, and the shadow of the world is expressing itself in its most ugly ways. Which brings up a question. How do we create the feeling that we have to go through such hardship, punishment, there's another word that I'm trying to think of, but hardship and punishment really kind of explain it, in order to evolve. What is that feeling that we always have to have lessons learned through struggle and pain? That's the word, pain and suffering. We have to have pain and suffering in order to learn. And therefore, the victim role has to come there. So everything that you have about that's good and bad. We got good guys in the world. We got bad guys in the world, or good women and bad women. Or even all guys are bad and all women are good. Whatever that duality is for your belief system. Where in our family constellations throughout history, where in our ancestry do we hold that as true and right, that we have that type of struggle in life? And just get that feeling like I always have to go through struggle. I have to suffer. I have to feel pain in order to get through this mess, get through whatever my personal life is and getting through. And everything that you have made that your enemy. And I'm not saying that you need to make it your friend, but it's like to have it as a known and acknowledged part of you that you have no resistance to. That would be the most optimal position. But everything that you've made it to be avoided, wrong, painful, sufferable, what emotions are attached to that? And I'm just going to go through these emotions. And if you feel something jump inside of you or react to it in some way, you know that that is the emotion that you're really acting out. And you may have more than one. So let's see what we have here. Blame, shame, reads, guilt, regret, anger, rage, fury, hate. All four of those read. Love, reads, sex, jealousy, peace, obsession, compulsion, addiction, perverted points of view. All of those read, all four of them. Fear, doubt, relationship, life, living, death, reality, and business. And business meaning power, second chakra powers. So all the Shikuan plants, Mobius strips, quantum particulates, light particulates holding that in place. Will you please destroy and uncreate that totally and utterly? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And how much being the victim comes to a place inside of ourselves that there's a wrongness in us that made it happen. And how much does that wrongness feel like you can't forgive yourself or really ever resolve it? That's the big word. I cannot ever resolve it. Impossible to resolve. And get that feeling of, think of what you've struggled with in life and what is just right there that's painful, and ask yourself, where is it in my reality that it just feels unresolvable? That if I really saw what this shame is, it wouldn't matter. It'd still be there. I could never resolve it. It's just painfully me. And all of that's a lie, by the way. You can resolve it. And it can become your friend or accepted a part of you. All right. So we'd like to connect to the infinite intensity of consciousness of that shame and feel where it is. Now, I kind of connect to the collective consciousness of the group at this point, and it really feels like it's a lot on the masculine side. That would be your right side. And it's down in your intestines and colon. So everything that's undigestible about that this is the hardest thing, in the belief in that. And that's how shame really operates is that it creates this illusion that it's so unforgivable, so hard, and so unmovable that you just better not look at it, or to scare the hell out of you, and you won't ever be able to see again. It's those type of lies that shame lives in and creates. It creates these illusions in our psyche. So whatever that energy is in you, and everything that you've held secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unsaid, undisclosed, unacknowledged, will you allow these secrets to be revealed? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And just think about what your shame is. It's just like, I'm the weak one in the family. I'm the unloved one in the family. I won't ever get love the way I want it because love never works out in my family. I'm the weirdo. I'm the ostracized one. Therefore, I'm always going to be alone. These are all shame-based belief systems. So think about what yours is. And it's almost like that's going to attract a victim mentality. And in fact, when you see a headline in the world going on, it will draw you into seeing the shame in it, seeing the limitation in it. And how much hatred is there that this will never go away. That you just have to live with this dark part of you. And everything that is connected to your mother, all the ways, means, methods, modalities, forms, structures, significances, protocols, factors, and vocal points. And just think about how your shame is connected to your mom's belief systems. And all the positive negative ions, free radicals, hold that in place. Will you please destroy and uncreate that totally and utterly? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. and everything that is connected to your father. Maybe your father was the one who always told you, well, you're really not quite good enough at that, are you? Or you really are not going to make me happy by being the darling little girl. And mainly because he's not happy and he's not able to respond to you. But from the shame perspective and your perspective, it would be like, it must be my fault, not my father's. And therefore, this shame is created and you hold it. That would just be one example. For me, it was always about the family screw up, the one who never did it right, that was always lesser than everybody in the family. And everybody loved for me to play that role because it made them feel better. So think of that story that is for you. And everything that is related to that with your family, or your father, excuse me, all the ways, means, methods, modalities, form, structures, significances, protocols, factors, and vocal points, and positive negative ions from free radicals that hold that in place. Will you please destroy and uncreate that totally and utterly? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And so here you are alone with that shame. And that's the feeling I have about it. And how much have you said of that, I'd rather be the victim in the family than to live alone with this shame. I gotta have my family, therefore I gotta play this role. Just like me playing the family screw up, the lost child. Like, that was an important role in my family. I held the shame. Everybody could feel better about themselves if they knew that I was the real dumb one in the family. And somebody was always dumber than them because they lived in a very competitive reality. And that's the difference. You know, some families will pick each other up, but in my family, we competed. We knocked each other down, and there was a hierarchy. So everything that you have agreed to, that you would be that victim in the family, that you would hold that place in that position. And just see yourself in that position. Where were you the lesser one in your family? What was the role? What did you look like? What did it feel like? What was the type of language you were speaking? You know, what were they saying to you that reinforced that? Whatever that is. I mean, they definitely told me I didn't belong and I was the weirdo. And if there was somebody that needed to be picked on and had rocks thrown at, that was me. You know, that's just how it worked. You know, I took that on and I became the victim. And therefore I could gravitate to victim stories, like in believe in that collective consciousness of what victim is. I just resonated with that energy. So look at that at yourself, about what that is in your roles. And where do you feel that in your body? And everything, so secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unsaid, undisclosed, unacknowledged about it, will you please allow all of those secrets to be revealed? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And how much of your strength did you use to survive the pain? To keep your head above the water in the pain. In other words, any emotion takes energy to fuel in your life. If you're using anger, you're using a lot of energy to fuel it in your life. And it's very contradictory to getting yourself to evolve to a higher place, to learning skills. Because if you're using a lot of energy to, you know, use anger, for example, and fight with anger, or to hold it in resentments, in other words, hold it back, you could be using that energy to apply to creating your dreams instead. That would be fun. But instead, it's wrapped up in the anger, or it's wrapped up in the shame or sadness, and it's just repeating that. It takes energy from you every day of your life, and we call it innate power. Something, an energy that is internally yours, and the only person that can take it away from you is you. And you do it by giving it away to illusions that emotions are fueled by. You know, and everybody does it. I'm not saying that it's only you. Uh, so this feeling that you are that shame person and that this is creating the victims in your life, hopefully you can feel that, or you got the image of you, of who that is, whatever that is. Everything that it's connected to all your family members, that you are in that position and you're stuck in that position, and that's where you live, and that's how you're living in your current life, is in some shape or form of that. All the decisions, judgments, compilations, and conclusions holding that in place. Will you please revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate that totally and utterly. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, going back to my own story and looking about the world and my relationship to the world, little old me in this great big world out there. And I'm looking at all the problems of the world and all the things that is happening. How would a shame-based person interact with that? Well, for starters, they would say, I can't change any of it. I'm powerlessness. You know, there's nothing I can do to make a difference in the world. You know, I'm just one person. Therefore, I'm going to live in my shame, and I am going to hide away. Because that's all I can do. That's all a person this small can do. They can't make a difference. And they can't go out in the world to change it in any way. And this is a big lie. You know, it's just a crock of shit, as they say. It's the collective consciousness of shame that says, no, we can't do nothing, and therefore we just wait for the persecutors to come in and destroy us and use us. You know, take our Social Security away, or take away Medicare benefits, or various other things that we're just powerless to stop it. So everything in the world that you start to feel that you don't have that power to do that, that the persecutor is going to come in and take advantage of you and steal from you, basically. All the beliefs that you believe that you can't do anything, and that your shame tells you those stories, and therefore you believe your shame more than your heart and passion, because your heart and passion go, I can do something. There are things I can do. I'm just one person, but I still can make a difference as one person. Everything that bought into that other stuff, will you please revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate that totally and utterly. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And everything that you bought that there's too many problems, and that you as one person can't do anything to do that. Everything that is, will you please revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and upright that totally and utterly. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. So let's go back to that part that feels like that shame person that is all alone. How does that person feel right now in the world as an adult? Can you be willing to connect to that infinite intensity of consciousness? In other words, to feel that shame person totally, just like it existed in your childhood, the small part of you that felt small amongst family members or in school. Now as an adult, feels that same smallness in this world today. How many ways, means, methods, modalities, form, structure, significances holds that complex in place? Everything that is, will you please revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uproot that totally and utterly. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. So the best way to deal with the shame part of you is to see it as it is and turn it around. You can do it with clearings, but let's do it a little bit differently. In other words, we're going to do just a little bit of a guided meditation. So close your eyes, and I'd like for you to connect to that part of you that feels ashamed, that feels alone. It feels like you were taken advantage of in childhood, or that you were just put in that place of a lesser being. And see yourself there. See that woundedness. See what you look like as that wounded person. And where do you hold that in your body? And go to that place in your body and perceive that person, that little child. And ask that little child, what are you holding for the family? And what did you do that was so wrong? And tell that child it no longer has to hold that wrongness anymore. That you've held it for so long and you no longer have to suffer with it. You no longer have to suffer in a place where there's less love for you. Because love is the greatest power that heals everything. And see this part of you that's so wounded. Come out of that place that it's hidden. You know, a lot of times we hold it deep inside of our colon, or even a place so deep that it's not even in our body anymore, but it's still a part of us. It's like, you don't have to live there anymore. Would you please come up to my heart and live in the light of my heart? And see this being come into the heart and have all the love that it could ever imagine. Because in your heart, there is an infinite space of love, of heart consciousness. And can you live there fully? And see this being come up in there. Just guide him up there. Just place him up there if you have to. But it no longer has to be there. And live right in that place of that heart. And thank this being. And allow this being to just live in that light in your heart. And the job is done. That's how you transfer a shadow that's living in shame or some other negative emotion into your body and reintegrate that into your life. And you may feel an expansion in your heart or an energy shift from something heavy and dense to something light and expansive. And so now, think about what love you could give to your family without saying, I had to pay you back, or I'm not doing this out of trying to fix something. It's just like, no, you are my family, and I love you. I have love now. I have a bigger space of love inside of me. Would you allow that to expand? And just see all your family members of who they were back then, when this shadow was first began, and you give them love and light. And you forgive them. And you just say, well, we're doing the relationship differently now. I'm no longer that shame-based little kid. I am who I am and sending you love. And there you have it. And it doesn't have to take long. It's just an acknowledgement that you've shifted. And this is what the shift feels like. And I'm moving to something else. So would you be willing to claim on and acknowledge that you've shifted? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot on, nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And everything that you believe that your shadow is so hard to move that you can never, ever move out of this old mold, would you be willing to let it go? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all, nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, there we have it. That's kind of the essence of the work that I do, is going in touch with those shadows and asking them to come back. And you have an idea of how you can do it on your own. Every time you feel like there's a place inside of you that it's not right, or you're in anxiety, or you're angry, and you can't understand why you have that feeling, like it doesn't make sense that you would feel that way. You should be happy and balanced. Ask your body, where am I holding this emotion? And what age did it begin? And then explore about what that was about for you. And ask to see the shadow. Ask to see yourself at that time. And then ask it to transfer to your heart where it can be whole and full. It's just that easy. It takes a little bit of creative thinking or creative visualization, and you feel like you're making it up. But after you've done about 10 of them, you'll realize, I feel a lot better. I have more love inside of me. I don't have so much stuff working against me. you know, how much do you hate having that stuff work against you? Almost like, you know, having a porta potty attached to you that holds all of this crap all the time, and you just don't know how to clean it out. Uh, and I bring that up because, there's a lot of people who have these big porta potties cleansed onto them, and they think that getting angry at something and, you know, becoming more animalistic with it and becoming aggressive with it will resolve that pain. And it doesn't. And we're seeing that right now with all of these people walking around with guns, and they're all pissed off, and they try to look as scary as possible. And, somehow they have had permission for this shadow to show up. Other people have told them that, well, it's okay to be this angry. I'm angry too, and I'm going to lead you through that anger. And this is the unconscious dialogue. This is the same dialogue Adolf Hitler used. And the people align with them and go, wow, somebody who feels exactly the way I do. I have all of this repressed anger, and somebody is mad like me, and they're going to do something about it. They're going to fight back. And that's the mistake with the shadow. It's not about fighting back. It's all about resolution and cleaning the porta potty up yourself, and then letting go of the porta potty. But you don't even need to have it. And that's the great thing of having it. Carl Jung said this, a great psychologist, that the more you do not resolve your shadow, the more animalistic you become. And right now, we're just having a big shadow of the whole world out in protest, out for change. And it's not always a bad thing. The shadow is being expressed. And whether it looks like it or not, it's evolving. It is evolving out there. It is changing. And we, as more conscious people, we that really wish to live at a higher place, we're helping that change by being true to that energy. So it doesn't make you better than anybody else, but you're starting to realize that getting angry and creating that feeling that I'm so scared, I'm so fearful that I'm going to do anything to try to make it move and change. And sometimes that's about some people just become very ugly in their actions, and that's what's happening in the world these days. So everything that you're afraid of those people, that the world is too crazy for me and I'm seeing this grossness out there, how much reaction do you have to that? That they scare me. And if they came into my living room, I would be in danger. If I met them on the street, I would be in danger. And the worst would happen to me. All of those fears, all the ways, means, methods, modalities, forms, structures, significances that you hold those fears in place, those thoughts, those emotions. And hate is the one that comes up. It's just like the hate that this isn't going to change, or the futility that this isn't going to change. Will you please destroy and uncreate all of that totally and utterly? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pot, all night, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So everything that you live in this place of hate, which would be, hate is a futility that something is not going to change. That this world is not going to change, and that we're stuck into that feeling. What is the collective consciousness of that amongst the group? And what is that collective consciousness that's happening in our country, on the planet? So everything that we live in that place of, there's a scenario that's happening that we cannot do anything about. And we are going to suffer, be destroyed, have a lot of pain from it. Of course, I'm trying to trigger a shadowy feeling inside of you. And everything's so secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unsaid, undisclosed, unacknowledged about that. We allow these secrets to be revealed. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. And everything that we have forgotten, that we have creativity, we have enthusiasm, we have love, we have the ability to change and evolve. Everything that we have valued that less and believed that this worse thing is going to happen to us instead, that shadow inside of us that we have fear of, what emotions are attached to it? Blame, shame, guilt, regret, anger, rage, fury, hate, love, sex, jealousy, peace, obsession, compulsion, addiction, perverted points of view, fear, doubt, relationship, life, living, death, reality, and business. All the Shaku implants, Mobius strips, quantum particulates, light particulates holding in place. Will you please destroy and uncreate that totally and utterly? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. And where in our ancestry, our collective consciousness, our history of our country, have people gravitated to this form of fear, that everything could be lost, and that is more relevant than we always have possibilities. We will figure this out. We will evolve beyond it. All the resistance you have to that fear, how much force and energy do you use to hold it in place, to repress it, to almost like separate yourself from it? Will you please destroy and uncreate all of that totally and utterly? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. The thing about a fear, and this is so much of what I always see in America, is a lot of the worst case scenario is played over and over again, and people perseverate on it, and we're always in fear of it. And, you know, it leaves less room to believe that, wow, we can make it through this. You know, we are capable people that can find a better solution. So if we're looking to find our solution by defeating or conquering this fear, it's not going to happen. We never get over fear by conquering it. We get over fear by seeing exactly what it is and receiving it. Because if we're like always trying to conquer it, we're basically pushing against it all the time. It's like, this is awful, this is bad, and I don't want it in my life. And either A, I'm going to avoid it, I'll push it to that side, or B, I'm going to just conquer it. I'm going to, defeat it. Neither work. You're always trying to use a pushing energy of a fear to combat another fear. So the best way to deal with a fear is receive it. See it for exactly what it is and say, I see you as you are. I see that this is what I'm really afraid of. It's always a personal story. We can look at the fires in California and the West Coast and say, what's my worst fear with that? You know, and for me, it's just like, when I think about that, it's just like, there's so much suffering there. And to me, it's like, I can't do anything about it. People are suffering and I can't do anything about it. And my heart is very heavy. And so I have to receive my apathy, my lesser power that I can't bring in rain. You know, I can pray. I can plant trees in Texas, which is a proactive thing to create more oxygen and balance our ecosystem. That's what I do as one singular person to make a difference. But also I had to realize what I'm really scared of and just say this simple message. I see you for what you are, and it's this, this, and this, and I'm willing to receive you now. And feel that fear just come right into you. And go, yeah, it's in my heart, and that's exactly where it needs to be. And I'm no longer using a lot of energy to push out against it. Like I got to fight it. I got to avoid it. It's just like, and so, that creates apathy, and it reinforces our shame, and it reinforces our victimization. And if we get victimized enough, or enough feelings that we're victimized and there's nothing we can do, then we just become more impotent people. And we're passive to life. So the question to ask is, what can I do in my life that I contribute to making a difference? Whatever that is. It's almost like little bitty steps you can take. And suddenly you're going, wow, I'm making a difference. We've done this thing before. This was about 3 or 4 years ago. And I just had a free class where people came and we did energy work with problems in the world. And you might have been there, Octavia. This is about the time you were living in Austin. And we always come back to this shame that there wasn't anything we could do, But really, when we started to create this seed of consciousness that said, no, we're not going to buy this shame that we're helpless in changing the oceans. That was one of the things we worked on. And we're not going to buy that, in that somebody will come along with a great idea that will change it. And we're part of that consciousness. We're not the guy having the great idea of making it happen, but we are part of the collective consciousness that moves things forward. So we did all of this work on it. And what's happening in the world with the oceans now is one guy came up with an invention and is creating all of these amazing changes in the ocean. In fact, he's predicting that in 10 years, we won't have pollution in the ocean, which is just phenomenal. But that's his prediction, and he's getting it done. So, we were part of that change because we were little bitty seeds in this big macrocosm of consciousness, and it's really good to claim that in your life. Like, I am being part of those seeds. I am planting these things, and move that forward. I don't go out and spout that story very much, but it's appropriate for this group to really say that we're part of it And we congratulate this man that's doing all of this. He's the hero that got to stand on top of the pyramid. But there are a lot of us on that pyramid. And what we do is make a difference in our own life to push it up. Yeah. And that affirms who we are, that we are positive people that create all of this great stuff. It's compassion with detachment. In other words, we're living passionate lives and we're detaching from the problems of the world. We don't have to have the weight of the problems of the world. However, with our compassion, we can bring hope and possibility into making changes. That's how you step out of victimization. Because when you work in that compassion with detachment, you start to say, my life has lots of possibilities. I'm going to take one activity at a time and move it up and forward with possibility. So everything that has in strength for you, what is it for you that can get active right now? What can your heart tell you that would be expansive for you? That we are this collective consciousness that creates great change in the world. And everything in your ancestries, of all your ancestries that know of power, would you claim on and acknowledge that they can be with you? And let's just end this class with a meditation or an activation. I had a friend. I have a friend that we've been talking a lot, and she was really talking about the Templars and how they've become spirit beings, much like the angels or the ascended masters that are out there to help people. They help get dreams done. So think of a big problem in the world. Could be the fires, could be an economy issue, could be an integrity issue in the world, could be an environmental issue of the world. Whatever it is, children being abused, people starving, whatever that is, pick it. Pick one and close your eyes. And see yourself in front of that big challenge, that big problem, that big thing that so many people are struggling with. And just give it an image, like a big fire or a starving group of kids or people that are very crass. They don't care about the world. They're just rich and selfish. Whatever that is, put that in front of you. And see your energy going to that problem as if you are a seed that is growing a solution to transform that issue. It's not about conquering these people that are suffering or that are the persecutors. It's about creating a change that they evolve. Because they're still a part of us, whether they're good guys or bad guys. So we'd like to send an energy out to them, Open up your heart and see a light going towards them. And we want to empower our light. So we ask that our angels stand behind us and send light into our heart, and that light go out to these people or this place or this issue. And we open that stream up. And we also ask these Templar knights to be with our angels and to make ourselves stronger, and that energy be there. And we ask what they believed in of Mary Magdalene, of Jesus, and all of their heritage, all of their ancestry, all the cultures, all the things that they practice and involved with, to come through them and to be with us. And may the light of our heart be bigger. And we send this out to this group, and we're giving it to them. And we ask ascended masters that we are aligned with. Saint Germain, Lady Nada, Lasso, Kuan Yin, whoever you want to invite. Ask them to stand with you, and that you send more energy to this place, and that you create a seed and many seeds of consciousness that we would like this to evolve. We give it love. We give it kindness. We give it hope that it will change into something. And that those people that are greedy and selfish and are creating destruction with this issue, that whatever parts that are wounded inside of them, that they receive this energy. And think of those leaders that are facilitating this, that we give that to them. And we give it willingly and knowingly, not knowing how it's going to change. We're not trying to control anything. We're not trying to make an outcome. We're just giving. We're giving light. And through this light process, we're also seeing the power it enables in us. That we have this much light in us. And as we go out through our daily lives, it can be applied to anything. It's a part of us now. That we have such a big realm of energy and love and consciousness flowing through us, and it's connected with the earth. And we advocate the earth, and we advocate for the safety and well-being of our planet. And we hold this in our hearts. And well-being. And any other beings you wish to be supporting you, call them in. Make your team as big as you wish it to be. And as they come in, ask to feel it in your heart and then send it on. It's almost like your beam of light that's sending out to this issue and this problem just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is a win-win situation. We're saying consciousness can happen in a huge way and in many ways. And now the reality is created. We're saying, I am a contributor to this issue evolving. And this will continue on. And I am activated, and I am in a place of power. I am empowered. And I do it in love, and I do it with humility. Because if you do power and love with humility, you have balance. It's not about grandiosity. It's about enjoying the power of love and how it changes everything around you. So when you're ready, open your eyes. So that's how it works. And we, as doing it as a group, just magnified it, just doing it together. And this creates a lot more. Just like when we, like this is my thing, is to scroll through Facebook, and I give myself permission not to dwell on things that are highly negative, and get myself inflamed in that negativity, because that's kind of an exercise in the reverse direction of what we just did. It's like, yeah, I don't want to support that. And no, I don't have to see the ugliness of the world as my patriotic duty. Nope, that's not how it works. So, you know, I'm guessing probably the majority or none of the people here today are football fans. So you probably missed the national anthem, the opening game of the National Football League season. But it was quite moving. I wanted to share that. It'd be a good closing note. The players all got out. Well, when they played the national anthem, the players all linked together, arm in arm, and just stood there. A couple of them were down on their knees. But everybody was just feeling of, we are strong together and we love America. We have problems, but we love America. And then all the players at that point went out onto the middle of the field, and they all linked arms together. I mean, the whole two teams. It just filled up the whole field. And they're all linked together. And then, you know, this billboard showed up that said, we are for equality. We want to end racism. You know, we do not accept police brutality. Black Lives Matters, and we love our country. You know, it was just, I was almost crying, because you know, the message was strong, but the feeling you got from these players is like, you know, we're tired of suffering from this. We want to create something positive for everybody to build on. And it's just such a wonderful message. And then they went out, kicked off the football, and started knocking each other in the heads like they usually do on a football game. But you know, it was a really wonderful feeling of togetherness and sportsmanship, and you know, I just really loved it. You know, and that's how we work. We work in positive ways, and we affirm that we're so much bigger than all of these problems. You know, it's one of the reasons why I wear a mask. I can certainly respect people not wearing masks, and they have flaws in them and stuff like that. And at the same time, I'm going to support what works for the bigger whole. So I'll wear a mask. I'm not telling you to, but that's why I do it. So thank you for everybody coming today. And I'll be going to Ireland, of course, on Monday. Most likely I'll do a class over there. No idea how any of that's going to work out, but I just got a feeling I'm going to be inspired over there, and I want to share it. Basically how it is. And I want to continue this tradition of giving out a free class every 1 to 2 weeks. And just really grateful that everybody comes and participates. And yeah, so thanks so much, everybody, and hope to see you soon, and wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bart.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks for working on the world today.